Hi, everyone, and welcome to Foundation for Blind Children's episode of the Insight Talk Show. Today with me, I have Dr. Kasey Markoski. Her students call her Miss M. So thank you, Kasey, for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
Kasey, can you tell us a little bit about what you do at Foundation for Blind Children?
Yeah, so I'm a teacher in the elementary education classroom.
And then how old are your students in that class?
They are from kindergarten up to fourth grade.
And then Kasey, what is your area of specialty?
So I specialize in the expanded core curriculum, but my favorite subject area is self-determination.
Very cool. So we are going to talk about self-determination, and then we're going to talk about some positive behavior approaches that we can have parents do with their kids at home. Obviously, during this time with the quarantine, it's really hard getting into a routine. We have lots of different behaviors that are coming up. So for today, I'm just going to talk about behavior with you a little bit and what we can do. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay, so Kasey, can you tell me what the positive approach to learning is?
So the positive approach is exactly as it sounds. It's increasing children's learning through a positive learning environment. When learning something new, no one wants to get frustrated and have a miserable time. Same goes for parents. Parents don't want to fight with their children on schoolwork. So this approach encourages positive interactions between parents and the child and creating a positive environment for the child to learn in.
So why is this approach, why is it important to students with a vision loss?
So using the positive approach is especially important for youth with visual impairments. Learned helplessness is a big problem for this population. This occurs when people are doing things for people with visual impairments, so they are not trying or learning to do it on their own. This is why self-determination is part of the expanded core curriculum, which is specifically designed for youth with visual impairments. We want children with visual impairments to grow up as independent as possible, so they need to learn to do things on their own and have the confidence and self-direction to do so. By providing a positive learning environment, these kids will be encouraged to explore, try, and learn something new.
So Kasey, how do we create that positive learning environment when we're exhausted, they don't want to do something, they're just having a meltdown? How can parents implement this at home?
So parents can start by implementing this at home by using positive language. In positive language, you will focus on what they should be doing. So instead of saying no hitting or stop banging on the table, try saying something like hands in your lap or calm hands at the table. This focuses on what they should be doing and not on the bad behavior. The more you focus on the bad behavior, the more they will do it. You'll also want to minimize embarrassment. Sometimes children get overwhelmed and frustrated when working on an activity that they haven't mastered yet. So if you noticed they are getting overly upset, try asking, "You sound frustrated. Do you need a break?" Or "Want to try that again?" This encourages them in a positive manner and gives them that nudge that they may need to take a break or try again. So we do this in our classroom. We do a set number of minutes of work, and then we take a brain break. The amount of time that they work and the amount of time of the brain break are different for every child. So we use a timer, and when it goes off, they get a little bit of a break with a favorite activity. And then after the brain break timer goes off, it's back to focusing. So it's really important to remember that even kids need a break. So the next one is remember to comment and reward your child when they are doing something right. This is very easy to forget. When they're behaving and focusing on a task, it's easy to get caught up on getting things done while they're quiet. So you'll need to remember to give them attention when they're doing things right and not always when they are doing things wrong. By giving them the positive feedback while your child is on task, this will increase their motivation to stay on task to seek more praise from you. Then you want to look at creating a positive physical environment. So when working on any kind of focused task, you'll want to pick an area with minimal distractions. This includes both visual and audible distractions. These distractions can be very hard for young children to stay focused. So you want to find or create a decluttered and quiet area for your child to work in. You want to set your child up for success. So by moving these barriers, such as distractions, that will set them up to win. You will have a child, if you have a child who gets very frustrated or overwhelmed, you will want to create a quiet and calming breaks for them. So in my classroom, we did this by setting up a really cute little small book area with the carpeted flooring and beanbag chairs all around so that kids can go sit in it and feel soothed and comfortable, calm, and relaxed. This helps calm them down and teaches them that sometimes we all need a break and to calm down and come back and try again. So if you have a child that needs additional physical support, it is recommended to use the hand under hand technique. You might know about this one, Jamie.
Yes, hand under hand is my favorite.
Yeah, so when helping a child with a task, we naturally want to place our hand over the top of theirs and guide their hand on what we want them to do. But with children, this technique can cause them to feel forced into an activity. With some kids, they dislike it so much that they may pull their hands away or refuse to participate. So to encourage a child with vision loss to explore something new, just put your hand on the object first or the task first and encourage them to find your hand and feel it with you. Children with vision loss react much better to this when you are trying it first, so they feel safe to try it too.
Mm-hmm.
Then the next one is creating a positive emotional environment. So you want to treat the child as a person first. When they're acting out or refusing something, try asking them, why are you doing that? Or what's wrong? You will also want to get down to their level when talking and set clear rules and expectations. Children are raw emotions, and when something is bugging them or upsetting them, they will react.
And it does seem to consume them too. So when they're upset, they are expressing that emotion every which way, and nothing else is going to happen until they're more comfortable or stable or calmed down.
Yeah, they are children. They are not going to always react the right way or the way we want them to act. So by checking in with a child, you might find out their behavior is actually an emotional reaction to something else. So for example, I had a student in my class who was refusing to do a task and was reacting by throwing objects. We've all seen this before.
Mm-hmm.
So after having a calm talk with the student, I found out that the student was upset because they wanted to do a different task and felt they were not being heard. So bottom line, the root of the problem was the child felt they were being ignored, which of course I would never want a student to feel that way. So by taking a moment to talk with the student as a person first, I was able to address the problem and teach the child to let me and others know that they don't like something and how we should react when we don't like something. This allows the student to feel heard and process their emotions they are feeling and going through.
So that is a lot of really good information. I want to back up a little bit and talk about the breaks. So when you talk about having a set work time and then taking that brain break, how do we decide how long a break should be? Like, we don't want to lose the chance to re-engage them in the activity. So how should a parent decide how long that break should be in the middle of work time?
So typically what we start with our students is 5 on, 5 off. And my centers are based around a 20 to 30 minute rotation, depending on the number of students we have. So that would mean that I get 5 minutes of solid engagement, and then they can have a 5-minute break, which would leave me a total of between 10 to 15 minutes of solid attention. Which, if you have a child, you know getting 10 minutes of solid engagement is quite a bit for these little ones.
It's a long time. So
But
what are
when you
some,
break it up, it's easier.
right, it is just chunking it. So what are some things parents can do during the brain break? Should they let the child choose what the break is? Should the parent set them up? How should that part work?
So every student is different. Some of my students, the brain break includes some kind of tactile or sensory exploration, like playing with Play-Doh or squishing dough. For some students, their brain break is music. They put on those headphones for 15 minutes
Mhm.
and rock out to music. Some of mine, it's a walk or getting to go to the reading corner to go read a book for 5 minutes and then come back. So it just depends on that student's interests. But the key is we set that up before we start the activity. So the child knows up front in 5 minutes, if I pay attention, then I get to go play with something I chose out all on my own.
So that's really good, just setting the stage up at the beginning so that they know what to expect for this time. So those are really, really great ideas. What if it doesn't work? Then what can a parent do? They've tried all of them, epic fail, it's not working. What's the next step?
So as you can see, there are many different ways to introduce and incorporate these positive learning strategies into the home. So since there are so many, you can pick and choose which ones work best for you and which ones you can actually implement. So because of this, not all of these techniques will work. So when trying one of these new techniques, keep in mind they may not work right away, or you may find one that works right away, but then after a few days, you feel your child is no longer responding. So this is totally natural. Kids are very adaptable, but they are also growing and learning. So this will lead them to challenge something new in their path to independence. And it is important to be consistent. So if you're trying one of these new learning strategies, don't give up after a few tries. These methods are meant to encourage and support you and your child. So try being consistent and you'll see positive results. But if all else fails, try high reward. In my class, we do lots of little trinkets and fun toys as rewards and work our way back. But the most important thing is to stay positive in this and find out what works for your child.
How many should a parent try at once? Should they try all of the techniques? Should they pick one that's most important? How do you know how many to try to begin with?
Oh, I recommend trying one first, definitely trying one and kind of getting that down between you and your child. And the most easiest one to try is language first, is trying to remember to use your language in a positive manner when working with your child, because this works not just with schoolwork, but in other areas with behavior problems as well. So that's the most easiest one that people can actually control and have an impact, is how we use our words in a positive manner.
Thank you, Kasey. You gave us a lot of great ideas today. I love the brain break. I think adults benefit from a brain break as well. So just remembering our little ones really need that break time too. So thank you for being on the Insight Talk Show today.
Thank you.
And join us next time. We will have Jay Whipple with us. He is an orientation and mobility specialist, and he's going to be talking about how we can implement some of those O&M techniques and tricks at home. Thanks, everybody. Bye. Bye, Kasey.
Bye.